Guys, so a big win by CLG, of course, to start that game off. 28 minutes in. That was an incredibly well-played game overall.
I would go as far as to say that was the best use of globals I've seen since Season 2.
Yeah, Nocturne, TF, like great pickups overall. Kobe, how'd you feel about them?
Yeah, it seems like TSM, they made some adaptations from last week, but they're the adaptations that people already had implemented on this new patch last week. So TSM are kind of like a week behind, and CLG have stepped it up. You saw towards the mid game, they completely pulled ahead. They used their wave manipulation. They used like Giant Wave's bottom to pressure things like Dragon, and they used red buff trading for things like Dragon. It seems like Odd One's view of the jungle is not on that macro level that Dexter's is, because with the implementation of Wriggles, as Saint keeps saying, like Dragon has kind of been unlocked much earlier. Same thing with Baron. You have to start thinking about those things much earlier than before, and Dexter was very quick to trade those away. He's like, okay, fine, you're going to commit to some resource up top. I'll just go ahead and get Dragon.
Yeah, this seemed to happen multiple times. Like a buff would get taken, but CLG would get a turret or get a Dragon or get something else. It's like Chronologic Gaming had like this bigger picture of how the game was played, right? Yeah,
they just played around the Wriggles really well. Every time that TSM would go for an objective that TSM thought was really valuable, like a blue buff or a red buff, CLG's like, okay, like I kind of like the global gold from a Dragon or a tower a lot better. And that game, I think, was really decided in Champions. Like, CLG knew exactly what TSM were going to pick, and it red flagged right when they banned that Syndra. They're like, oh, well, what is Bjergsen going to pick that's within the meta? Like, we already have Lulu. What else does he play inside the meta? And they knew they were going to pick Nidalee, and guess what? TF lane's fine against Nidalee, and they got that really nice global pressure they wanted.
The global pressure just kept snowballing into kills. They kept picking things off. And, of course, we talk about pick engage versus Nidalee, but two guys teleport on top of you. It's really easy to grab fights.
Yeah, especially with the way that the game is changing right now. The abilities that allow you to cover large distances have increased in importance dramatically. And so I really like bringing in the TF early. It was the early top dive, I think, that really showed this first, when TSM were able to commit up top, get that kill, and they didn't even lose Dragon. They didn't even lose mid. They were able to recover their positioning after gaining that advantage.
Yep.
Yeah, this kind of stuff happened over and over again, actually. We have a replay, actually, about 11 minutes into the game, where CLG just gets to pick a fight. They've got Nocturne engaged with Lulu support on the back of that one. If we can get that replay up, it's just like these guys are just so good at just picking out fights, just killing people off.
All right, you want to talk about it?
Yeah.
All right, I'll talk about it. Yeah, this is like Bjergsen kept hitting really good spears here and pressuring them, and they felt like, oh yeah, we're just going to get the turret on the next wave. Like, this is so free for us. But you got to remember, TF is bot lane, and he can get to mid extremely fast. Nocturne can get a really nice engage with Lulu. And look at TF's positioning in this. He gets behind the team. There's nowhere to run on this. Shyvana's not even there. Mundo shows up late for the party. There's not even going to be a fight. It just run them straight over. And you can't run poke comps into these super hard engaged global comps that have really good follow-up CC.
Yeah, and they just dive at the turret afterwards.
Yep. And that's just the power of heals, power of Lulu, power of Shyvana. They just have a really amazingly put together team comp. I love their team comp in this game.
Yeah, it really allows them to capitalize on what's important in the meta right now. Like, human psychology is a huge part of this. Every single time TSM want an objective, CLG use that against them. We just saw right there, you want this turret, everybody knows you want this turret, so they use that against them, and they get the engage with the large globals that they do have.
Mm-hmm. So now you guys are talking about during the game that kind of everyone on CLG played pretty much perfectly. No major mistakes on any of the players. Like Dexter specifically, I want to talk about him because his Nocturne was on point. We've seen that guy kind of come back as of this patch. Wriggles Lantern jungle, I know you talked about how well he controlled dragons and whatnot. It seems, right, he's adapted to the patch well. He's playing this game so properly right now. Full damage Nocturne.
Yeah, he just played it exceptionally well. He knew what the power of the Wriggles could do, what the power of the Feral player could do, and he converted that into changing his team's playstyle around. Like, oh yeah, like usually you see teams, they go for the buffs. TSM was still playing like an older patch. Like, yeah, like getting blue buff from a TF, that's pretty huge, right? Mm-hmm. And no, like they don't care about that. They know that Nocturne pushes extremely hard. They know he can take Dragon fast. They know he can take Baron fast. And they adapted their playstyle to that. It feels like CLG is just ahead of the curve.
Yeah, so then actually we're going to see another replay then. More of Dexter, actually. It's more Nocturne. We have a gigantic sort of cataclysmic team fight in the mid-game, 20-something minutes in if we can get that one up there. And it's kind of more of the same. It's Nocturne goes in, Lulu follows up, and Dexter just has so much damage that he drives the team through. Kobe, if you want to do this one.
All right. So let's see here. This was the double teleport in. Shyvana and Twisted Fate coming to join the party. As you said, Dexter gets right in there, and he has the confidence. This is one of the biggest things I like about CLG. They're playing this new style with supreme confidence, not building tank on Nocturne, going that full damage, having Lulu, even as a support, be enough defense for them to have the confidence to go straight into the middle of the team. And TSM are constantly on the back foot because in the face of all this CLG confidence, they're taking the damage first, and they're forced to retreat.
Yeah, so that works exceptionally well. And Link is another player I want to talk about here because he brought up Twisted Fate. We're seeing him a little bit now in 4.5, not like the top-tier mid laner, but we're seeing him occasionally. And Link, I know Jad talked about it during the game, but like Link picked all the engages super well, landed incredibly efficiently, had a kind of an interesting build with the Morel and Omicron on top of that one. The entire game, the Link was seemingly perfect.
Yeah, I really liked this build. After the Lich Bane nerf, people were like, oh, like TF's going to be garbage. Like, who wants to play that guy? And then they had that very small change to him where like, oh, you can actually have the card out for more than a second. I think the Morels is a really nice pickup. They're playing into Mundo. They're playing in Italy. A lot of mass heals. That's actually a build that I didn't expect out of him, but I thought it worked out really good. And then he just went Hourglass on top of that. So he wasn't really like that hard damage spike TF that everybody's used to. He's like, hey guys, I'm like messing up that heal that they're using on him. I'm CC training people. I have a lot of cooldown reduction, so you can just get off that card and just keep stunning people. While the high DPS people, like that Nocturne with the Blade of the Ruined King,
right?
Yeah, you can just meld people together. I really love that team comp. It's good.
Yeah, talk about confidence. Link had definitely amazing confidence, and he, like Twisted Fate, is a hard champion to pull those plays off. If you make a misstep with someone squishy like TF, who doesn't have a lot of defense, then you're going to look pretty bad, and it's definitely going to show Link did not make those mistakes. He was choosing the engages very well.
He had a couple of nice side steps that game, too.
Yeah.
Not Italy Spears. A couple of them
still died,
in the
but
face,
it was really good.
Yeah, it looked good when he died.
And also, the game of cat and mouse with Turtle, when Graves had red buff, was also very impressive.
Yep, and you know what's funny is he ended up getting the red buff off of Turtle, and in that last team fight, they ended up cleaning up everybody because he had the red buff to just chain slow everybody. So good job, Turtle, keeping the team together.
Well, of course, that worked out very well for CLG Gaming. We're going to take a quick break, but keep your browser where it is. When we come back, CLG is one game away from clinching their spot in the finals when they face off against TSM in Game 2. Stay tuned.